The Hadzabe live a simple life in the heart of the wilderness. They do not store large supplies of food or build permanent homes, rely instead on hunting and gathering for survival. Everyone in the community has a role to play, from searching for food and caring for the children to preparing for the next hunt. Whenever someone catches an animal or discovers a source of food, the reward does not belong to that person alone. It is brought back and shared with the entire group. This spirit of unity, mutual support, and shared success has helped the Hadzabe endure for generations in one of the world's most demanding environments. As morning begins, the Hadzabe men sit together to prepare their bows and arrows for the hunt. They pick up each arrow shaft, carefully running a knife along the wood before using their mouths to straighten it. Every movement is slow and precise because even the slightest bend could send an arrow off course. Their bows are decorated with hand-wrapped bindings and carefully crafted details that make them both sturdy and comfortable to hold. The arrowheads are sharpened to fine points, while the bowstrings require considerable strength to draw. Once everything is ready, the hunters test their bows one final time before heading into the wilderness. With their equipment prepared, the hunters leave camp and follow narrow trails across the savanna. The morning air is still cool, but heat is already beginning to rise from the ground. They move slowly, watching for branches that have recently shifted, fresh tracks in the sand, and patches of grass that have been disturbed. The signs clearly indicate that an animal passed through the area only a short time earlier. Suddenly, one of the hunters spots a troop of monkeys sitting on low branches, busily searching for food. The group immediately crouches down and quietly spreads out. Several hunters remain in front, while the others carefully circle around both sides to block the possible escape routes. Sensing danger, one of the monkeys immediately leaps away from the tree and moves toward a safer position. The hunters give chase, tracking its direction while gradually tightening the circle around it. The animal repeatedly changes course, jumping between trees and searching for a way to escape. However, the hunter's well-coordinated movements steadily reduce the space around it. The moment the monkey lets down its guard, one hunter quickly takes up a favorable position, draws his bow, and sends an arrow accurately toward the target. The pursuit ends soon afterward, as the monkey has been struck by a poison-tipped arrow prepared in advance. It is the first successful catch of the day, and the group takes pride in the patience and teamwork that made it possible. While surveying the surrounding area, the hunters suddenly hear faint sounds coming from a nearby rock crevice. Realizing that an animal is hiding inside, they immediately move closer to investigate. Several men use long branches to probe the opening, while the others stand around it to block every possible exit. After waiting patiently for some time, they discover that the trap has caught a squirrel attempting to escape. The hunt quickly ends in success, providing the group with another catch and adding to their food supply for the day's journey. After a long day crossing the savannah, the hunters finally return to camp carrying the animals they have caught. Everyone quickly takes on a task. Some clean and prepare the food, while others gather dry branches and build a fire. The meat is then placed over the flames and cooked in the simple, familiar way they have always used. As the aroma spreads through the camp, children and other members of the community gather around the fire. No hunter keeps his catch for himself because every reward is shared fairly among the entire group. The communal meal not only helps everyone regain their strength after the demanding journey, but also reflects a unity that has sustained the Hadzabe way of life. The Hadzabe do not see themselves as the owners of the land, but as one small part of nature's vast cycle. They hunt only what they need to survive, take only what they can use, and understand that greed can destroy the balance that has supported their community for thousands of years. Their philosophy is remarkably simple. Survival does not mean conquering nature, but learning to listen to it, adapt to it, and live in harmony with it. In a world increasingly driven by material possessions, their way of life reminds us that true wealth can sometimes be as simple as having a community to return to, a meal to share, and a natural world preserved for generations to come. Amid the arid savanna and scrub forest surrounding Lake Eyasi in northern Tanzania, the Hadzabe people continue to preserve a hunter-gatherer lifestyle that has remained largely unchanged for thousands of years. Every morning, as the first light of dawn appears, the men set out carrying bows and arrows, while the women and children search for wild roots, fruits, and honey. In the Hadzabe world, every journey has a potential to become a confrontation with some of Africa's most dangerous animals. Among them, crocodiles and lions stand as the greatest challenges, demanding courage, experience, and flawless teamwork. During the dry season, when many streams run dry, animals gather around the remaining water holes to drink. This is also when crocodiles become more active in ambush, lying motionless beneath the surface for hours as they wait for unsuspecting prey. The Hadzabe understand these habits well and carefully study every sign before approaching the water's edge. They identify places where crocodiles are likely hiding by spotting slide marks in the mud, long tail drags, or flocks of water birds suddenly scattering into the air. To them, a single careless step can turn a hunter into prey. Before every hunt, the men gather to inspect their bows, sharpen their arrowheads, and prepare a layer of plant-derived poison for their arrows. Rather than confronting crocodiles in the water, they patiently wait for the right moment, when a reptile crawls onto the bank to bask in the sun or rest near the shoreline. A well-placed arrow will gradually weaken the crocodile. However, the hunt truly begins only after the first shot. The animal often plunges back into the water or thrashes violently, forcing the entire group to remain calm and track it for hours before making their final approach. Success brings not only a valuable source of meat, but also durable hide that can be used for many purposes in everyday life. Yet crocodiles have never been the only danger. Across the vast grasslands, lions constantly follow herds of antelope, zebras, and wild boars. At times, the very animals the Hadzabe have worked so hard to hunt quickly attract the attention of Africa's top predators. By watching vultures circling overhead or hearing hyenas calling in the distance, the hunters can often tell that lions are nearby. They immediately change direction, avoiding unnecessary encounters while looking for opportunities to reach the remains of a kill if conditions allow. There are times when an entire group must face a pride of lions guarding its prey. No one recklessly rushes into attack. Instead, they stand shoulder to shoulder at a safe distance, constantly making loud noises by shouting, striking their bows against tree trunks, and moving in perfect coordination. Their calmness and unity can sometimes persuade the lions to retreat, especially when the animals are already full and unwilling to risk injury. Even if the hunters recover only the leftover meat, it remains an invaluable source of nourishment for the entire community during times of food scarcity. When the hunt comes to an end, everyone works together to carry the day's catch back to camp. The meat is roasted directly over glowing coals, while the energy-rich fat is especially treasured for helping sustain the body during long journeys. According to Hadzabe tradition, the reward never belongs solely to the hunter who made the successful shot. The meat is shared equally among the families, ensuring that both the elderly and the children receive their portion. It is the spirit of sharing that has enabled this small community to survive countless droughts and the harsh challenges of nature across many generations. As the sun gradually disappears beyond the horizon, the hunters gather around the campfire, recounting their encounters with crocodiles beneath the water and lions across the savannah, passing their knowledge on to the younger generation. For the Hadzabe, every hunt is more than a search for food. It is a lesson in patience, courage, and the ability to adapt to nature. These enduring values have allowed them to preserve their ancient way of life in the wild heart of Africa. To this day, as the first light of dawn spread gently across the grasslands and scattered woodlands, sunlight gradually illuminated the wilderness, while many wild animals left their resting places to begin searching for food. Back at the camp, the tribal hunters also woke up very early to prepare for a new hunting expedition. They carefully checked their bows, arrows, knives, and ropes, making sure every tool was in perfect condition. While the hunting dogs were fed before departure, several young men took the opportunity to practice archery by shooting at wooden targets near the camp. Once every preparation was complete, the entire group gathered together and quietly set out across the open savanna to begin the hunt. Not long after entering the grasslands, the tribal hunters spotted an antelope calmly grazing in an open area. Using tall grass and low terrain as cover, they silently reduce the distance without alerting the animal. As soon as the right moment arrived, everyone raised their bows together, Several arrows flew through the air and struck the target. Wounded, the antelope immediately turned and tried to flee, but after running only a short distance, it gradually lost its strength and collapsed. The hunters quickly approached, secured the animal with ropes, and took turns carrying the antelope back to the camp. After returning to the camp, the hunters placed the antelope in the food preparation area and immediately began preparing the meal. Some members built a fire while others cleaned the meat, cut it into bite-sized pieces, and placed it into clay pots with water to cook. While waiting for the food to finish, they took turns adding more firewood, keeping the fire burning steadily and watching over the boiling pots. The aroma of freshly cooked meat soon spread throughout the camp. Once the meal was ready, the entire tribe gathered together to enjoy the hot food and recover their strength after the first successful hunt. Following a short period of rest, the group prepared for another hunting trip. Leaving the camp once again, the tribal hunters headed into the sparse forest in search of another prey. Before long, they discovered a troop of monkeys foraging on the ground, digging through dry leaves for fallen fruit and other food. Using low bushes as cover, the hunters quietly spread out and slowly closed the distance. When they were close enough, one arrow was released and struck a monkey. The entire troop immediately panicked, quickly climbed into the trees, and disappeared deeper into the forest. The hunters collected the captured monkey, tied it securely, and began making their way back to the camp. The hunters took turns carrying the captured monkey, following familiar forest trails back toward the camp. Along the way, everyone remained alert, carefully watching surroundings for any dangerous wild animals. As the camp gradually came into view, those who had stayed behind came forward to help carry the game into the living area. After placing the monkey on the ground, the group prepared the necessary tools and immediately began getting everything ready to cook the second meal of the day. The tribe quickly built another fire to prepare the meal from the monkey they had just hunted. Some members cleaned the meat, cut it into bite-sized pieces, and placed it into clay pots filled with water to cook. While waiting for meat to become tender, they took turns adding firewood, maintaining a steady fire, and watching over the boiling pots. The rich aroma of the cooking meat gradually spread throughout the camp as the meal neared completion. Once the food was fully cooked, everyone gathered together to enjoy the hot meal after the second successful hunt of the day. They ate heartily to restore their energy after many hours of traveling and hunting to the forests and grasslands, while a peaceful atmosphere settled over the camp as the tribe continued enjoying their freshly prepared meal.
Significado espiritual. Eles não têm.
As dawn gradually spread its gentle light across the savanna and sparse woodlands of Tanzania, the first rays of sunlight illuminated the vast grasslands, while many wild animals began searching for food across the open landscape. At the camp, the group of indigenous hunters also woke before sunrise to prepare for a new hunting expedition. They carefully checked their bows, arrows, knives, and ropes, making sure every tool was in perfect condition. Some tested their bowstrings, organized their arrows, and inspected their equipment one final time before departure. While the hunting dogs were fed and ready for the journey, several young men of the tribe took the opportunity to practice archery at fixed targets. Once every preparation was complete, the hunting party quietly left the camp and began another hunt across the vast African savanna. After moving deeper into the savanna, the indigenous hunters unexpectedly witnessed a lion bursting from the tall grass and bringing down its prey in the middle of the open plain. The group immediately stopped and silently observed from a safe distance. As the lion stood beside its fresh kill, the hunters used the tall grass as cover and quietly moved closer. However, the lion quickly noticed their presence. It repeatedly roared, bared its fangs, and advanced in a threatening manner to drive away the unexpected intruders. The hunters quickly spread out to both sides to maintain a safe distance, while continuously drawing their bows and firing several arrows at the predator. After only a few moments of resistance, the lion gradually lost its strength and collapsed on the open savanna. On the way back to the camp, the hunting party discovered a beehive hidden deep inside the hollow of a large tree trunk. They quickly gathered dry grass and lit it to create smoke, driving the bees away from the hive. Once the area became safer, one member carefully reached inside the tree and slowly pulled out the honeycombs one by one. Large golden honeycombs were passed down to the others below, who carefully collected them. After gathering enough honey, the group packed it together with their hunting trophies, extinguished the remaining fire, and continued along the familiar trail back to the camp. Back at the camp, the tribe quickly lit a fire to prepare their meal. The meat from the hunt was cleaned, cut into bite-sized pieces, and placed into clay pots with water to cook over the fire. While waiting for the food to finish cooking, the members took turns adding firewood, maintaining the flames, and watching over the simmering pots. The freshly collected honey was also divided into small portions for everyone to enjoy. Once the meat became tender, the entire tribe gathered together to share the meal and restore their strength after the first hunt of the day. After a short period of rest, the hunters prepared themselves for another journey. Leaving the camp once again, the indigenous hunters entered the sparse woodland in search of another prey. Before long, they found a troop of monkeys feeding on the ground, constantly searching through fallen fruit and dry leaves. Using the low bushes as cover, the hunters quietly split into several directions and slowly moved closer. When the distance became favorable, a single arrow was released and struck one monkey. The entire troop immediately panicked, rapidly climbed into trees, and disappeared deeper into the forest. The hunters quickly collected the captured monkey, secured it with rope, and carried it back toward the camp. After returning to the camp, the tribe began preparing another meal using the monkey they had just hunted. More firewood was added to the fire while some members cleaned the meat, cut it into bite-sized pieces, and placed it into clay pots with water to cook. As the meat simmered, everyone took turns feeding the fire and watching over the cooking pots. Once the meal was ready, the entire tribe gathered together to enjoy the hot food after completing their second hunt of the day. Everyone ate heartily to recover their energy after many hours of traveling and hunting through the forest and across the savanna. The atmosphere around the camp became lively as they continued eating and enjoyed the remaining honey they had collected earlier.
Tanzania is home to an ancient tribe that has lived there for tens of thousands of years without electricity, without participating in a modern market-based economy, and without viewing land ownership the way most of us do today. To them, the forest is not simply a resource. It is their home and a living memory passed down through generations. The forest not only provides food, but also teaches people how to observe, adapt, and survive. Every trail winding through the trees carries the footsteps of countless generations who have quietly and steadily traveled across this land. As they move deeper into the forest, one hunter suddenly hears a faint sound coming from the canopy above. Looking more closely, he notices branches gently shaking and fresh scratch marks on the bark. These signs reveal that a bush baby is hiding among the thick leaves. The Hadzabe know that this small animal is an agile climber, capable of making long leaps and nearly disappearing into the darkness. They immediately slow down, remain silent, and spread out to watch from different directions. When the animal moves onto a lower branch and exposes itself, one hunter quickly raises his bow. The arrow strikes before the bush baby can leap into another tree. The hunter carefully retrieves the prey and continues the journey. Continuing the hunt, the men discover fresh wolf tracks in the soft ground. The prints lead toward an area of low brush, suggesting that the animal passed through only moments earlier. The group quietly moves forward while carefully checking the wind to avoid being detected. Once the distance is right, one hunter slowly raises his bow. The arrow leaves the string and strikes the animal. Although hit, the wolf immediately runs into the tall grass. Knowing the poison will take effect gradually, the Hadzabe patiently follow its path instead of rushing after it. After covering some distance, the animal begins to weaken in the grass, and the hunters quickly move closer. However, bringing down prey on the savanna does not mean the danger is over. The scent of the animal and the sounds of the hunt can attract other predators. When a lion appears nearby, the atmosphere changes immediately. The Hadzabe do not panic. They keep their distance, work together, and closely watch every movement of the lion to protect the food they worked so hard to obtain. This is not reckless behavior, but a decision shaped by the need to survive. To them, it is not a battle between humans and wild animals, but an encounter between two predators sharing the same land. After a long day of searching for food, everyone returns to camp with the results of their hard work. The animals are cleaned and divided among the families. No written rules are needed because sharing has long been part of their way of life. Dinner is also a time when generations gather together to exchange hunting experiences and lessons about survival. While many societies measure wealth by the possessions people accumulate, the Hadzabe believe true wealth lies in the ability to share with others. When dinner ends, singing and dancing begin. Laughter and conversation fill the air around the fire, bringing another long day on the savannah to a close. Their lives may be simple, but within that simplicity there is genuine joy. Although they lack many modern comforts, the Hadzabe possess treasures of enormous value. Strong community bonds, deep respect for nature, and happiness found in life's simplest moments. Perhaps it is the songs sung around the fire at sunset that have helped this small community endure for centuries. They remind us that happiness may not be found in what we own, but in the people with whom we share our lives at the end of each day.
At dawn, soft light gradually spreads across the African savanna and its scattered woodlands. In the distance, vast grasslands slowly brighten beneath the first rays of sunlight, while many wild animals begin moving in search of food. At the camp, the tribal hunters also wake early to prepare for the day's hunt. They carefully inspect their bows, knives, ropes, and arrows, making sure every piece of equipment is ready for use. After completing all preparations, the group quietly leaves the camp and heads into the vast savanna, beginning another hunting journey in the African wilderness. The tribal hunters cross wide grasslands and sparse forests, carefully following the footprints of large animals impressed in the ground. Before long, they spot a lion resting on the open savanna. The group quickly finds concealed positions and patiently observes it from a safe distance. After a while, the lion slowly rises, silently walks through the tall grass, and suddenly bursts into a sprint to hunt. Following a brief chase, it quickly brings down its prey and begins feeding. The hunters continue waiting until the lion finally leaves the area before quietly moving in to prepare for their own hunt. Using the bushes and small earthen mounds as cover, the hunters silently reduce the distance between themselves and the lion. As soon as the animal enters shooting range, the first arrow is released. Wounded, the lion immediately roars and charges straight toward the hunters. The men quickly scatter in different directions, maintaining a safe distance while repeatedly firing additional arrows. Although the lion continues its attack, its speed gradually slows as more arrows strike its body. After a fierce struggle, it finally loses strength and collapses on the savanna. The hunters quickly move in and completely secure their first trophy of the day. After finishing the hunt, the tribal group returns to the camp before the sun climbs high into the sky. Everyone quickly builds a fire in the center of the camp to prepare a meal. Others clean the freshly hunted meat, cut it into bite-sized pieces, place it into a pot with water, and cook it over the fire. While waiting for the meat to cook, they take turns watching the pot and keeping the fire burning steadily. The aroma of hot food soon spreads throughout the camp. Once the meal is ready, the group gathers together and enjoys the food to recover after the first hunt. Following a short rest, they check their bows and arrows again and prepare for the next hunt. Leaving the camp once more, the tribal hunters head back into the sparse woodland in search of another animal. Before long, they discover an African civet slowly searching for food beneath low bushes. Using the dense vegetation as cover, the hunters silently spread out and approach from several directions without alerting the animal. When they are close enough, an arrow is quickly released and strikes the target. The hunters immediately rush toward the spot, following the remaining tracks left by the wounded animal. After only a short distance, they find the civet lying beneath the bushes and quickly secure it. The group then carries the new trophy back to the camp. Back at the camp, the tribe begins preparing a meal from a freshly hunted African civet. More firewood is added to the fire, while some members mix flour with water in a clay pot, stirring continuously until it thickens into a porridge-like dish. Meanwhile, the meat is cleaned, cut into bite-sized pieces, and placed into another clay pot to cook thoroughly. Once everything is ready, the tribe gathers together to enjoy a hot meal after their second hunt of the day. Everyone focuses on eating and restoring their strength after a long day of traveling and hunting across the savanna. As the sun slowly disappears beyond the horizon, Another day in the African wilderness comes peacefully to an end.
On the first morning, when sunlight touched the edge of the savannah, I followed the Hadzabe men out of camp. They carried only bows, a few arrows, and knowledge passed down through generations. The older hunter walked ahead, always watching the ground. To me, it was just sand, dry grass, and faint marks. But to him, every small footprint or bent patch of grass could reveal which animal had passed. Before moving deeper, the group checked their arrows and applied plant resin mixed with herbs to the tips. Soon after, the path led us to the first situation. The guide signaled us to stop when he found a small dik-dik antelope lying near some bushes, perhaps attacked by a hyena during the night. No one rushed toward it or showed much excitement. For the Hadzabe, everything in nature belongs to a greater cycle. They take only what can be used and do not see it as a personal victory. After observing it, the group continued forward, because the forest still held many things ahead. Nearly an hour later, a young hunter stopped beside a dry tree trunk. Inside a hollow, there was a soft buzzing of bees. For the Hadzabe, honey is a valuable gift from the forest, sweet and full of energy after long walks. They used smoke to drive part of the swarm away and took only what was needed. When they returned to camp, the children ran out to greet them, the women lit the fire, and the men placed the food in the center. Meat, honey, or any food brought back did not belong to one person, but to the whole community. Sitting beside the fire that afternoon, I realized that the most impressive thing was not their ability to follow tracks, but the way they shared everything. No one had to be reminded, and no one tried to take more. Every piece of meat and every chunk of honey was placed together so everyone could eat. Here, survival was not the story of one strong individual, but the unity of the whole group. One person could be a great hunter, but the community helped everyone get through difficult days. For the dangerous journey, threw away the fatigue of the climb. In the following days, I better understood how the Hadzabe entered each hunt. They did not make rigid plans or force themselves to catch one specific species. If the forest sent a signal, they listened. While passing through an area of bushes and low rocks, one man discovered the tracks of a wild cat that had just crossed. The group lowered their bodies, spread out slowly, and waited for the right moment. One arrow flew with precision. The hunt ended in silence, with only the calm of people who had always lived close to nature. Another time, they caught a guinea fowl after hours of following sounds through the bushes. The prey was carried back to camp, and the familiar scene happened again. Children sat near the fire, women prepared the embers and tools, while the men cleaned the animal. No one asked who had made the shot or claimed the best part. Once the prey reached the camp, it was no longer one hunter's achievement. It became a shared meal, divided in the way this community had done for generations. The longer I stayed there, the more I understood that sharing was not a forced rule, but a natural way of life. Children grow up seeing food always placed in the middle of everyone. Adults do not measure value by possessions or the number of animals hunted. What matters is who can contribute something to the common meal of the day. One day someone finds honey, another day someone hunts a small animal, but in the end, everyone sits around the fire. That trust makes life here feel much lighter. When I left the Hadzabe tribe, I did not want to say they were happier than the modern world. But I clearly felt one thing: they do not need much to feel complete. Perhaps what exhausts human beings is not always the lack of things, but the effort of holding on to too many. In that wild land, the Hadzabe showed me another way of living, simple yet profound. If you want to discover more stories about Hadzabe life, hunting, and culture, leave a comment and do not forget to follow the channel. In the harsh wilderness of Tanzania, Hadzabe hunters are setting out on a dangerous journey of survival, where every decision can affect the safety of the entire group. Today, their targets are not only aggressive, fast-moving baboons that are difficult to approach, but also a powerful lion hiding among the thick grass. As the first rays of sunlight break through the silent forest, they prepare for the expedition by applying fresh poison to their arrowheads and carefully checking their bows. The serious expressions on their faces reveal that there is no room for carelessness, because in the wild, only those who prepare thoroughly and act at the right moment can return safely. In the mysterious silence of the forest, the real challenge begins for the Hadzabe hunters. Their sharp eyes continuously scan the ground for baboon tracks while their ears remain alert to every faint sound coming from the bushes. With each passing second, the tension grows, because tracking a troop of baboons through dense woodland is always filled with danger. They understand that even the slightest noise can alert the animals. For that reason, the group stays calm, limits every movement, and watches each trembling leaf with intense focus. Drawing on years of experience, they quickly recognize the faint signs hidden across the forest floor. Suddenly, when they spot a troop of baboons, the hunters immediately freeze. One small mistake at this moment could place the entire group in danger. The younger hunters quietly look toward the elders and wait for a signal. Then the group slowly moves forward, gliding like shadows until they reach a favorable position. They steady themselves, lock their eyes on the target, and place their arrows on the bowstrings at the same time. This is more than a hunt. It is a search for food that will help sustain the entire tribe. After the difficult baboon hunt, the Hadzabe hunters are exhausted, yet they continue deeper into the wilderness. This time, their target is a lion hiding among the thick grass. Fresh, oversized tracks in the soil reveal that the animal is very close. The group immediately lowers their bodies, remains silent, and carefully advances. Facing a powerful predator like a lion demands calm nerves, experience, and perfect coordination, because one poorly timed move could place everyone in serious danger. The cooking begins over a bed of glowing coals. Using skills refined over many years, the Hadzabe hunters place each piece of meat over the flames, and before long, a rich aroma spreads through the air. There are no elaborate seasonings here, only the natural flavor of the meat, the heat of the charcoal, and the smoky scent of the wilderness. This simple meal is enough to ease the exhaustion of a long day. The meat sizzling over the coals is a well-earned reward for the group's patience and effort. At last, the moment the Hadzabe hunters have been waiting for arrives. The meat is fully cooked and ready to be eaten. With the first bite, the exhaustion, tension, and fear carried throughout the journey begin to fade away. This is more than a meal. It is a moment when the entire group gathers to share the rewards of a difficult expedition. Every bite reflects their courage, unity, and ancient connection to this land. The peaceful expressions on their faces as they eat in silence show that today's journey was successful and that the tribe's struggle for survival will continue. The Hadzabe diet comes entirely from nature. Their food does not go through complicated processing and mainly consists of what the land and forest provide. Freshly hunted meat, pure wild honey, roots, and wild berries are the foods that help them maintain their health and endurance in such a harsh environment.